We're going to run through 6 clips. The first 3, we're going to talk about how Ramon sets up his rear hand pull counter, or what I'm going to call a drop counter. And that idea will make sense soon. Then we're going to go into how Ramon could set up the same sequence by initiating it with his own jab. We'll have to use our imagination a little bit, but I think we'll get there. Then finally, in the last 2, we'll talk about how he likes to feint high or low, then commit an attack in the opposite direction. So a little backstory, the news just broke that Ramon's going to fight Naoya Inoue, and I was just curious to see what was in his toolbox. All right, let's get into it. Ramon's head's over his lead foot. Now, note this little rock back right here. He shifted his weight to his rear foot, and that's important because it allows Ramon to drop as soon as Bryan commits his lead right here. And then he's going to come back with that rear cross. Simple enough. So let's see that again. That's drop counter. Okay, there's a couple ways Ramon could set that up. He could block the jab when Bryan commits his lead right here. Now, one small thing to note, notice how Ramon blocks it on his lead foot. And we'll go ahead and play that back again. And there's the block. He could also decide to leave that lead foot. Bryan, once again, will commit, but instead of blocking on this lead foot, Ramon will pull to his rear foot right here. And let's see that one more time. There's the pull. Now let's talk about one more idea. How can Ramon initiate a drop counter with his jab to create the same sequence we saw a little bit earlier? Okay, so this was a pattern that happened just before that drop counter. This time Ramon will initiate the sequence with a jab right here. A couple of things to notice. First, Ramon will end on his lead foot. And then on the very next beat, Bryan will counter with his lead while Ramon will pull to his rear foot right here. And then that leads us to the drop counter we saw a little bit earlier. So drop, counter. Now let's run this back and get to that jab from Ramon. There's that jab. Now if Ramon had instead completed a drop right here instead of a pull when Bryan countered, Ramon could have timed him coming over the top with a short right. Okay, that's a lot. Let me know if that idea sunk in. Okay, let's get out of that puzzle. So finally, we're going to end with 2 ways Ramon uses his feint. He'll feint one way, but then go the other, and I'll explain. So Ramon's going to feint high with his jab right here. Then I'll commit with a jab to the body. So not too much to it. That's high, then low. Or he could go the opposite way. He could feint low with his jab right here. And actually, it looks like he was committing with that jab to the body. But then come over the top with a short right. And one more time, that's low, then high. And that's all I got.